Welcome back, my lovely family and friends, and welcome to the second part of this incredible story. This is part 2 of Please Don't Hit Me, I'm Already Hurt, cried the CEO. Then the single dad revealed who he was. Part 1 left us thinking how Lisa and Michael would navigate the future either together or independently. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also, let me know where you're watching from. Monday morning began with chaos. Emma couldn't find her favorite purple shirt, insisted her volcano project needed to be started immediately even though the science fair was 3 weeks away, and announced that she'd promised her teacher Lisa would come to the parent lunch on Thursday. Emma Rose Torres, Michael said with parental exasperation, "You cannot volunteer other people for things without asking them first." "But Lisa's our friend now," Emma protested. "Friends come to parent lunches." Lisa, watching this exchange over her coffee, felt something warm bloom in her chest. "I'd be happy to come to the parent lunch," she heard herself say, "if that's okay with your dad." "More than okay," Michael said, shooting Lisa a grateful look. "Though I should warn you, these things are mostly competitive parents trying to out-organic each other with their snack contributions." "I think I can handle competitive parents," Lisa said wryly. "I've survived VC pitch meetings. That's basically the same thing." After dropping Emma at school, Michael and Lisa returned to the apartment. Michael set up his laptop at the small dining table, and Lisa took the couch, her own computer balanced on her knees. For a while, they worked in comfortable silence, the only sounds the tapping of keyboards and the occasional sigh of frustration. "What are you working on?" Lisa asked after an hour. "Or is that confidential billionaire stuff?" Michael smiled. "Actually, I'm trying to solve a problem with latency in our Asian data centers." "Thrilling stuff. You." "Building a timeline of Marcus's movements before he disappeared," Lisa said, cross-referencing his social media posts with financial transactions and travel records. "There has to be a pattern. Nobody vanishes completely without leaving traces." "Can I see?" Michael asked, moving to sit beside her on the couch. Lisa hesitated, then turned the laptop so he could view her meticulously organized spreadsheet. His eyes scanned the data quickly, and she saw the moment he switched from casual observer to analytical problem solver. "This is good work," he said. "Really good. But you're missing something." Here, he pointed to a series of transactions. "These are happening in different time zones within hours of each other. That's not physically possible unless he had someone helping him," Lisa finished, seeing it immediately. "Multiple people. A team. Or at least one accomplice," Michael agreed. "Someone who could be in New York while he was in San Francisco. Someone who could access accounts from different IP addresses." Lisa's mind raced. "His sister, Claire Chin. She's a software engineer. I never thought. She was always so nice to me. Came to our company parties. We had lunch together." "People closest to you," Michael said quietly, echoing her words from the night before. "I need to look at Claire's financials," Lisa said, already typing. "But I don't have access to." "Wait." She looked at Michael. "You have resources, teams, people who can get information I can't. Will you help me? Really help me? Not just give me a couch and sympathy, but actually use what you have to find these people?" Michael was quiet for a moment, considering. "If I do that, it can't just be my team and my resources making this happen while you watch. You need to be involved. Your name, your vindication. Which means you need to come to my office, meet my people, work alongside them. Can you do that? Can you let people see you working on this when the whole world thinks you're guilty?" Lisa thought about it. The vulnerability of being seen. The risk of more judgment, more condemnation. But what was the alternative? Keep hiding? Keep building her case alone with limited resources while Marcus disappeared further into the shadows? "Yes," she said firmly. "I can do that. For justice. For my parents. For every young black woman who's going to read my story and decide whether to take risks in tech. I can do that." "Then we start tomorrow," Michael said. "Today you spend time with Emma after school like we planned. Build that relationship, give yourself some normalcy. Tomorrow we go to war." The rest of the day passed in focused work. Lisa continued her analysis, now with a new angle to explore. Michael made calls, sent encrypted messages, began mobilizing resources. They ordered pizza for lunch, both too absorbed to cook. When 3 o'clock approached, Michael logged off. "Your first official day as Emma's friend," he said. "Nervous?" "Terrified," Lisa admitted. "I've managed teams of engineers. I've presented to Fortune 500 boards. But I've never been responsible for an actual 6-year-old for 2.5 hours. She's surprisingly low maintenance," Michael said. "Snack, homework, playtime. Just be present and she'll be happy." "And Lisa? Thank you. Really. This means more than you know." Lisa walked to Emma's school alone, following Michael's directions. The neighborhood was pleasant, tree-lined streets with modest homes and children's bikes on front lawns. So different from the high-rise corporate world Lisa had inhabited. So normal. At the school entrance, parents and nannies clustered in groups, chatting while they waited. Lisa felt their eyes on her, assessing. She was dressed in the clothes Michael's sister had left, simple and casual, but she still felt out of place. Like an imposter playing at a life that wasn't hers. Then Emma burst through the doors, her face lighting up when she spotted Lisa. "You came. You really came." She launched herself at Lisa, wrapping small arms around her waist with unself-conscious affection. "Of course I came," Lisa said, surprised by how good it felt to be greeted with such pure joy. "We have volcano research to do, remember?" On the walk home, Emma chattered about her day. About the boy who brought a lizard for show and tell. About the art project where they made self-portraits. About the spelling test she thought she did well on but wasn't sure. At the apartment, Lisa set out the snack Michael had prepared, apple slices and peanut butter. Emma tackled her math homework with surprising focus, occasionally asking Lisa for help with a problem. Lisa found herself falling into a teaching rhythm, asking questions that led Emma to answers rather than just providing them. "You're good at this," Emma observed, finishing the last problem. "Teaching, I mean. Were you a teacher before?" "No," Lisa said. "But I had to explain complicated things to people who didn't understand technology. I guess it's similar." "What happened to your job?" Emma asked with characteristic directness. "Daddy said you had a company but something bad happened." Lisa chose her words carefully. "Someone I trusted did something dishonest and made it look like I did it. So I lost my company and people believed I was the bad person." "But you're not," Emma said with absolute certainty. "Bad people don't push swings at the park or learn how to braid hair or help with math homework." "It's more complicated than that," Lisa said gently. "Sometimes good people do bad things. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. The world isn't as simple as we wish it was. Mommy used to say that people are like books," Emma said. "You can't judge them by their covers. You have to read them to know if they're good stories. And everyone has plot twists." Lisa smiled. "Your mommy was very wise." "She was," Emma agreed matter-of-factly. "I miss her every day. But she's still with me, kind of. In the things she taught me. Daddy says that's how love works. It doesn't disappear just because someone does." They spent the next hour on the floor, researching volcanoes on Lisa's laptop. Emma was fascinated by pyroclastic flows and lava viscosity, asking questions that showed genuine scientific curiosity. Lisa found herself enjoying the teaching, the pure intellectual exchange without corporate politics or hidden agendas. When Michael came home at 5:30, he found them building a prototype volcano out of Play-Doh, arguing good-naturedly about the correct baking soda to vinegar ratio. "This is serious science, Daddy," Emma announced. "We need precision." "I can see that," Michael said, his expression soft as he watched them together. "Lisa, you're officially hired full-time. Anyone who can make homework this fun is worth keeping around." That night, after Emma went to bed, Michael found Lisa on the balcony again. It was becoming their spot, their space for honest conversations away from the pressures of the day. "She's amazing," Lisa said. "Your daughter. So smart and curious and kind. Sarah must have been an incredible mother." "She was," Michael said. "But Emma's got her own spark too. She's been through hell losing her mom that young and she's still so full of light. Some days I don't know if I'm raising her or she's raising me." "Both probably," Lisa said. That's how the best relationships work, I think. Mutual growth. Speaking of growth, Michael said, his tone shifting to business. I talked to my head of security today. Former FBI, brilliant investigator. I briefed him on your situation without using your name. He agrees that the evidence against you is too perfect. He's willing to help, but he needs full access to everything. Your files, your communications, your financial records. Can you do that? Can you let a stranger dig through your life? Lisa took a deep breath. Every instinct screamed to protect her privacy, to maintain control. But control was an illusion she could no longer afford. Yes, she said. Whatever it takes. I want my life back, Michael. I want to clear my name. I want my parents to look at me with pride again instead of disappointment. I want to build something that matters. So yes, full access. No holding back. Tomorrow then, Michael said. We'll go to Cloud Vision headquarters. Meet the team. Start the real work of fighting back. Won't people recognize you? Lisa asked. I thought you were staying under the radar. I am mostly. But I still go to the office occasionally for strategic meetings. My CEO handles day-to-day operations, but I'm still the majority shareholder and chairman. People know I value my privacy, so they don't make a big deal about it when I show up. And when they see me with you? Lisa pressed. When word gets out that the disgraced CEO is hanging around Cloud Vision? Let them talk, Michael said firmly. I believe in your innocence. My team will too once they see the evidence. And if the tech world wants to gossip, let them. We'll give them something worth gossiping about when we clear your name and take down the people who tried to destroy you. Lisa felt tears pricking her eyes. Why are you doing this? Really? Because teaching Emma about kindness doesn't explain this level of commitment. You're risking your reputation, your resources, maybe even your company's stability to help someone you barely know. Michael met her eyes. Because justice matters. Because I have resources that can actually make a difference, and using them to right wrongs is a better use than buying another house I don't need. Because you remind me of why I got into tech in the first place, to solve real problems for real people. And because, he paused, choosing his words carefully, because you're not someone I barely know anymore. You're someone I'm starting to know quite well. And everyone I'm getting to know is worth fighting for. The moment hung between them, charged with something neither of them was quite ready to name. Not romance, not yet. But connection. Recognition. The beginning of something that might become significant if they let it. Thank you, Lisa said quietly. For seeing me. For believing me. For not giving up even when I was trying to push you away. Thank you for staying, Michael replied. For giving us a chance. For being exactly who you are instead of who you think you should be. They sat on the balcony until the night grew cold, talking about plans and strategies and what tomorrow might bring. Below them, Seattle lived its life, oblivious to the quiet revolution happening in apartment 2C. Two broken people starting to heal each other. Two outcasts, two warriors preparing for battle. And in her bedroom, Emma slept peacefully, dreaming of volcanoes and new friends and a world where good people won in the end. Because children still believed in happy endings. And maybe, Lisa thought as she finally went to sleep that night, maybe children were right. Maybe happy endings were possible after all. You just had to be willing to fight for them. And for the first time in months, Lisa had something worth fighting for. Herself. Her truth. And the strange little family that was teaching her how to be human again. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Tomorrow, Lisa would walk into Cloud Vision headquarters and face the judgment of people who'd read about her alleged crimes. Tomorrow, the real work of redemption would begin. But tonight, she had shelter. She had support. She had hope. If you've ever had to rebuild from nothing, if you've ever needed the courage to face the world after it knocked you down, you know that hope is everything. It's the difference between giving up and getting up. And sometimes, hope comes from the strangest places. From a stranger in a grocery store parking lot. From a 6-year-old who makes you name cards in crayon. From a community that reminds you that you're not alone in your fight. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from, what battles you're fighting, what hopes you're holding on to. Because your story matters. Your fight matters. And knowing we're all out here struggling and surviving and rebuilding together, that matters most of all. Tuesday morning arrived with the kind of crisp autumn air that makes Seattle famous. Lisa dressed carefully in clothes Michael had taken her shopping for the previous evening, professional but not flashy. A simple blazer, dark jeans, a white blouse. The clothes of someone ready to work, not impress. Michael wore his usual worn jeans and a plain button-down shirt, but Lisa noticed the subtle shift in his demeanor. His shoulders were straighter. His walk more purposeful. This was the version of him that had built an empire, even if the packaging remained deliberately humble. Emma had been dropped at school early at a breakfast club program, giving them the full day to work. As they drove to Cloud Vision headquarters in Michael's modest Honda, Lisa felt her anxiety building. What if they've heard about me? She asked. What if they refuse to work with someone accused of fraud? Then they're not the team I thought they were, Michael said simply. Lisa, the people I've chosen to keep close are the ones who think critically, who question narratives, who understand that the truth is rarely as simple as headlines make it seem. Trust me. Cloud Vision headquarters occupied 3 floors of a renovated warehouse in the Soto district. The exterior was deliberately understated, no flashy logos or corporate monuments to ego. Just a street number and a small placard by the door. Inside was a different story. The space was beautiful in its functionality, open concept with natural light, collaborative workspaces mixed with private offices, technology seamlessly integrated without being ostentatious. People worked with focused intensity, the energy of a company that had found its rhythm. A few heads turned when Michael entered, acknowledgement without fanfare. He led Lisa to an elevator, up to the 3rd floor, down a hallway to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Already waiting were 3 people. A woman in her 50s with silver hair and sharp eyes. A younger man, maybe 30, with the focused intensity of someone who saw patterns others missed. And an older man, 60-something, with the bearing of someone who'd seen everything and couldn't be shocked. Lisa Kingston, Michael said, meet my inner circle. This is Patricia Lansing, my CEO and the person who actually runs this place. David Chin, our head of data analysis and the person who can find digital needles in haystacks. And James Crawford, former FBI special agent and currently our head of security. Lisa shook hands with each of them, searching their faces for judgment. She found only professional assessment and, surprisingly, curiosity. Miss Kingston, Patricia said, her voice warm despite the formal address. Michael has briefed us on your situation. I want you to know that everyone in this room has read your work. We've studied Bright Futures technology. What you built in healthcare data privacy was genuinely innovative. The fraud accusations never made sense to any of us, frankly. You were too smart to leave that kind of trail. Unless I was arrogant enough to think I wouldn't get caught, Lisa countered, needing to voice the obvious argument. Possible, James Crawford said, his voice gravelly. Except I've investigated hundreds of fraud cases. Real perpetrators always have a tell. A pattern of escalation. Prior instances of dishonesty, even small ones. You have none of that. Your background is cleaner than most pastors. Which means either you're a sociopathic genius who started with a massive fraud or you're innocent. And sociopaths don't build companies focused on protecting patient privacy. That's not where their interests lie. Lisa felt something in her chest unclench. These people, strangers until 5 minutes ago, had already done more digging on her behalf than most of her supposed friends had bothered to do. So where do we start? She asked. David Chin pulled up a presentation on the large screen. We start with what we know and work backward. Michael sent me your initial analysis last night. It's excellent work, by the way. You were absolutely right about the time zone inconsistencies suggesting multiple perpetrators. Images filled the screen. Marcus Chen's social media, travel records, financial transactions, and new information Lisa hadn't been able to access. Phone records, IP addresses, even security camera footage from various locations. Your former partner Marcus was careful, David continued, but not careful enough. 3 days before the fraud was discovered, he met with his sister Claire at a coffee shop in Portland. We have them on security footage. Laptop open between them. Whatever they were looking at had them both very focused. That doesn't prove anything, Lisa said, playing devil's advocate. Siblings meet for coffee. True, David agreed. But then Claire transferred $50,000 from an account we've traced to one of the shell companies used in your fraud. Payment for services rendered, perhaps? And 2 days after the fraud went public, Marcus wired her another $200,000 from an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. You can prove this? Lisa's heart was racing. We can prove the transfers, James said. Proving they're connected to the fraud against you requires more work. But it's a thread. We pull it, we see what unravels. For the next 4 hours they worked. Lisa provided every detail she could remember about Marcus, about their partnership, about the days leading up to the fraud. Patricia brought in legal expertise, outlining what would be needed to clear Lisa's name legally versus simply proving Marcus's guilt. David built timelines and data maps, showing patterns that would have taken Lisa months to uncover on her own. Michael mostly listened, occasionally asking questions that cut to the heart of an issue. Lisa realized he was brilliant at synthesis, at taking complex information and finding the essential truth. This was the mind that had built Cloud Vision, not through technical genius alone but through the ability to see what others missed. Around noon, Patricia ordered in lunch, sushi and salad spread across the conference table. They ate while working, the conversation shifting between case details and the oddly normal small talk of professionals collaborating. So how did you and Michael connect? David asked Lisa with genuine curiosity. The news said you disappeared after the investigation started. Lisa glanced at Michael, unsure how much to share. He gave a small nod. I was living in my car, Lisa said simply. For 3 weeks. One night I collapsed outside a grocery store. Michael and his daughter Emma found me. He offered help. I accepted. The room went quiet. Patricia's eyes softened with sympathy. David looked uncomfortable, realizing he'd touched a nerve. But James Crawford nodded with understanding. Rock bottom, he said. I've been there. Different circumstances, but I know what it's like when everything falls apart. The people who help you up from that, they're the ones worth keeping. Emma calls Lisa her friend, Michael said, his voice carrying a warmth that made Lisa's cheeks flush. Which is the highest compliment a 6-year-old can give. She's usually suspicious of new people. Smart kid, Patricia said. She gets that from Sarah, I assume? That woman could read people like code. She could, Michael agreed, his expression briefly clouded with grief. She would have liked Lisa. Would have seen past the circumstances to the person underneath. The moment passed and they returned to work. But Lisa felt the shift, the acceptance. These people weren't just helping her because Michael asked. They were helping because they believed in the work, in justice, in fighting for someone who'd been wronged. By mid-afternoon, they had a plan. David would continue tracking Marcus's digital footprint, focusing on the sisters' involvement. James would use his FBI contacts, carefully and unofficially, to gather information that might not be accessible through normal channels. Patricia would begin the legal groundwork for Lisa's exoneration, finding the right attorneys who specialized in fraud defense. And Lisa would do what she did best, analyze, strategize, and rebuild her case with the meticulous attention to detail that had made Bright Future successful in the first place. This is going to take time, James warned as they wrapped up. Weeks, maybe months. Marcus didn't just commit fraud, he constructed an elaborate frame. Dismantling it requires the same level of care he used to build it. I have time, Lisa said. And for the first time since this started, I have hope. Real hope. Not just wishful thinking, but actual possibility. As the team dispersed, Patricia pulled Lisa aside. Can I give you some unsolicited advice? Please, Lisa said. Don't let this consume you, Patricia said gently. I know it's your life, your reputation, your everything. But if you let the pursuit of justice become your only purpose, you'll lose yourself even if you win. Michael brought you here because he sees something worth saving. Make sure that when this is over, there's still someone left to save. Lisa nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Patricia's words hit uncomfortably close to a truth Lisa had been avoiding. She'd spent so much energy on survival, then on revenge, that she'd forgotten about actually living. On the drive back to the apartment to pick up Emma from school, Michael was quiet. Lisa watched the city pass outside the window, processing everything that had happened. "Your team is incredible," she finally said. "The resources, the expertise, the commitment. I don't know how to thank you for this." "You don't have to thank me," Michael said. "This is what privilege is supposed to be for. Using it to level playing fields, to fight for people who can't fight for themselves." "I could have fought for myself," Lisa said, bristling slightly. "I was fighting. Just with fewer resources." "You're right," Michael corrected immediately. "I didn't mean to suggest you were helpless. I meant that having access to resources shouldn't determine whether justice is possible. The fact that it does is a flaw in the system, not a reflection on you." They picked up Emma, whose excitement about her day temporarily shelved all discussions of fraud and investigation. She'd learned about butterflies in science class and had 17 new facts to share, each one delivered with breathless enthusiasm. That evening, after dinner and homework and Emma's bedtime routine, Lisa found herself back on the balcony. But this time she wasn't alone. Michael joined her with 2 glasses of wine, a deviation from his usual beer. "Celebrating?" Lisa asked. "Acknowledging," Michael said. "Today was a good day. Progress. Hope. Things moving in the right direction." They sat in comfortable silence, sipping wine, watching the city lights. Lisa felt different than she had a week ago. Lighter. Like some burden she'd been carrying had been shared, distributed across the shoulders of people who'd chosen to help carry it. "Can I ask you something personal?" Lisa ventured. "Always. Patricia mentioned Sarah would have liked me. You talk about her sometimes, what she would have thought or said. Does it help? Keeping her voice alive like that?" Michael considered the question carefully. Yes and no. Yes, because she was the wisest person I knew. Her perspective still guides me even though she's gone. But no, because sometimes I use her voice to avoid making my own decisions. What would Sarah do becomes a way to not have to figure out what Michael should do. "Do you think you'll ever stop asking that question?" Lisa asked gently. "I don't know," Michael admitted. "Grief is strange. Some days I can think about her and smile. Other days, usually when Emma does something that reminds me of her mother, it hits me like a truck all over again. The therapist says that's normal. That grief doesn't have a timeline or a finish line. You just learn to carry it differently." "I'm carrying different things," Lisa said, "but I think the principle is the same. The betrayal, the loss, the public humiliation, I can't just get over it. I have to figure out how to carry it in a way that doesn't destroy me." "You're doing better than you think," Michael observed. "A week ago you could barely accept help. Today you walked into a room full of strangers and trusted them with your story. That's progress, Lisa. Real progress." "I had a good teacher," Lisa said, glancing at him. "You and Emma, you're teaching me how to be human again. How to accept care without seeing it as weakness. How to trust without immediately looking for the betrayal. And you're teaching us too," Michael said. "Emma hasn't been this engaged in months. She's always been smart, but you bring out her curiosity in ways I can't. And me," he paused, choosing words carefully, "you're reminding me why I do what I do. Why building things matters. Why fighting for what's right is worth the risk." Their eyes met and something passed between them. Not quite attraction, though that was there, simmering beneath the surface. But connection. Recognition. The understanding that they were both changed by this strange arrangement, both becoming something different than they'd been before. Lisa looked away first, suddenly shy. "We should probably not complicate this," she said quietly. "You're helping me. I'm helping Emma. Adding anything else to that equation could mess up what's working." "You're right," Michael agreed, but his voice carried disappointment. "Timing's wrong. Situation's complicated. We should keep things professional." "Professional," Lisa echoed, though the word felt hollow. They finished their wine in silence that was no longer quite comfortable. Some acknowledgement had been made, some possibility raised and then deliberately set aside. Both of them knew it, felt it, and chose to pretend they didn't. When Lisa finally went to bed, she lay awake thinking about Michael. About the way he listened when she talked. About his gentleness with Emma. About the strength it took to be vulnerable, to admit grief, to build a life focused on meaning rather than accumulation. She thought about Patricia's warning. Don't let the pursuit of justice consume you. Make sure there's still someone left to save. Who was Lisa Kingston underneath the CEO title and the fraud accusations? What did she want beyond vindication and revenge? She'd spent so long chasing external validation that she'd never developed an internal compass. Never figured out who she was when nobody was watching, when there were no metrics to meet or expectations to exceed. Maybe that was the real gift of this time. Not just the resources to fight Marcus, but the space to figure out who she wanted to be when the fighting was done. In his room, Michael stared at his ceiling for the third night that week. He was developing feelings for Lisa. Real feelings, not just attraction or sympathy, but genuine care for her well-being, her happiness, her future. It terrified him. Sarah had been gone for 2 years. He promised her he wouldn't be alone forever. But he hadn't expected to meet someone who understood him so completely, who'd been broken by life and was choosing to heal rather than harden. Was it too soon? Too complicated? Too risky with Emma's emotions involved? All of the above, probably. But feelings didn't follow logic. They emerged despite our best efforts to contain them. He'd wait. Give Lisa space to reclaim her life before adding the pressure of his feelings. But waiting didn't mean the feelings weren't there, growing stronger each day, each conversation, each moment of connection. Two people in the same apartment, both thinking about each other, both convinced they were protecting the other by staying silent. It was almost comical. It was absolutely terrifying. And it was, Michael realized as sleep finally claimed him, probably inevitable. Some connections couldn't be prevented, only delayed. And delaying them didn't make them any less real. 3 weeks passed in a rhythm that began to feel almost normal. Lisa spent mornings at Cloud Vision headquarters, working with David and James to build the case against Marcus. She spent afternoons with Emma, homework and science fair preparation, and the small joys of watching a child discover the world. Evenings were for family dinners, the three of them, with conversations that ranged from silly to profound. The volcano project had become elaborate, a working model with realistic eruption mechanics and a presentation board detailing the geological processes involved. Emma was proud of their work, and Lisa found herself equally invested. When had she last cared this much about something that had nothing to do with profit margins or market share? The investigation was progressing. Marcus had surfaced briefly in Singapore, his passport flagged by James's contacts. They'd missed him by 2 days, but it confirmed he was real, findable, not just a ghost in the digital shadows. Claire, his sister, was being watched. Her financial activities scrutinized. The net was tightening. Lisa's lawyer, funded by Michael though they pretended it was a loan Lisa would repay, was preparing motions to have the charges reviewed. The evidence David had gathered was compelling enough that the FBI had reopened elements of their investigation. It wasn't exoneration yet, but it was movement. Lisa had even called her parents. The conversation was stilted, painful, her mother crying and her father unable to speak past his emotions. But she told them she was fighting back, that she had help, that she'd prove her innocence. Her father's last words before hanging up: "We never stopped believing in you even when we couldn't show it. Come back to us, Lisa. Come home." Life, impossibly, was starting to feel manageable. Not good, not yet, but possible. Like the future might hold something other than survival. Then Tuesday of the 4th week, Emma woke up with a fever. "It's probably nothing," Michael said, his hand on her forehead, concern creasing his face. "Just a bug going around school. Half her class has been out sick." But by afternoon, Emma's fever had spiked to 103. She was lethargic, barely responding, her small body shaking with chills despite the blankets piled on her. Michael's worry became alarm. "We need to go to the hospital," he said, already scooping Emma into his arms. "I'll drive," Lisa said, grabbing keys and phone. "You sit with her." The emergency room was busy, but one look at Emma's condition moved them through triage quickly. Nurses descended, taking vitals, asking questions. Emma's temperature was 104.2. Her blood pressure was low. They moved her to an examination room immediately. Lisa stood in the hallway, feeling helpless and terrified. In 4 weeks, Emma had become precious to her, this small person with her mother's eyes and her father's kindness. The thought of anything happening to her was unbearable. Michael emerged from the examination room, his face ashen. They're running tests, blood work, cultures. They think it might be sepsis, an infection in her bloodstream. His voice broke. They said it's serious. That we caught it just in time, but it's serious. Lisa pulled him into a hug without thinking, feeling him shake against her. She's going to be okay, she said fiercely. Emma's strong. She's a fighter. She's going to be okay. I can't lose her, Michael whispered. I can't. She's all I have left of Sarah. If something happens to her. Nothing's going to happen, Lisa said, pulling back to look at him. We're in a hospital. She's getting treatment. You got her here in time. They waited. Hours of purgatory in uncomfortable chairs while doctors worked behind closed doors. Finally, a physician emerged, a tired-looking woman in her 40s with kind eyes. Mr. Torres? Your daughter has a severe bacterial infection, likely from a small cut on her foot that became contaminated. We've started aggressive antibiotic treatment, but she needs to be admitted to the pediatric ICU for monitoring. The next 24 hours are critical. Michael nodded, processing. Whatever she needs, whatever it costs, just save her. We're going to do everything we can, the doctor said. You can see her now. She's sedated but stable. Emma looked so small in the hospital bed, tubes and monitors attached to her little body. Michael sat beside her, holding her hand, murmuring things Lisa couldn't quite hear. Promises, probably. Prayers. The desperate negotiations we make with the universe when someone we love is in danger. Lisa stepped out to give them privacy, finding herself in a hallway that felt surreally familiar. How many times had she walked hospital corridors when her grandmother was dying? When her uncle had his heart attack? Hospitals were places where the illusion of control shattered, where you confronted how little power you actually had. She pulled out her phone, checking messages mechanically. An email from David, an update on Marcus's movements. A text from Patricia, asking about tomorrow's meeting. The world continuing despite the crisis in room 347. Miss Kingston? Lisa turned to find a nurse she didn't recognize, an older black woman with a gentle face. Yes. I need to update Emma's insurance information. Mr. Torres is with her now, and I hate to disturb them. Do you know if there are any changes to her coverage? I don't know, Lisa admitted. I'm just a friend. Maybe check with him later? Of course, honey. The nurse smiled. You've got good friends. That man in there, he's one of the best fathers I've seen. The way he loves that little girl, that's the real thing. After the nurse left, Lisa found herself thinking about love. About how Michael loved Emma, completely and without reservation. About how different that was from the transactional relationships she'd cultivated in her corporate life. People who'd valued her for what she could do for them, not for who she was. She thought about her parents, whose love she'd taken for granted until shame drove a wedge between them. About the friends who'd disappeared when her success evaporated. About Marcus, who'd pretended love and partnership while planning betrayal. And she thought about Michael, about Emma, about this family that had welcomed her when she had nothing to offer except her broken self. They'd loved her in their way, cared for her, seen her. When had she last seen anyone? Really seen them, looked past their utility to her goals and just witnessed their humanity? Lisa walked to the hospital chapel, a small non-denominational space at the end of a quiet corridor. She sat in a pew, staring at the plain cross on the wall, and for the first time in years she prayed. Not to a specific God, she'd never been clear on theology, but to whatever force in the universe listened when humans were desperate. Please, she whispered, please let Emma be okay. She's good. You're good. The kind of person the world needs more of. And Michael needs her. He's still healing from losing Sarah. Losing Emma would destroy him. So please, take whatever you want from me. My reputation, my company, my future. Just let her be okay. It was a foolish prayer, the kind of magical thinking she'd lectured against in her rational, scientific life. But in that moment, Lisa would have traded everything for Emma's recovery. Her vindication, her justice, all of it meaningless compared to a 6-year-old's life. She didn't know how long she sat there. Time became elastic, meaningless. Eventually, Michael found her. "Hey," he said softly, sitting beside her. "Nurse said you were here." "How is she?" Lisa asked. "Stable. The antibiotics are working. Doctor says if her fever breaks in the next few hours, she'll be okay." Michael's voice was raw with exhaustion and relief. "She's going to be okay." Lisa felt tears streaming down her face, not bothering to wipe them away. "Thank God. Thank God." "Were you praying?" Michael asked, surprise in his voice. "I was negotiating," Lisa corrected. "Offering trades." Not sure anyone was listening, but it felt better than doing nothing. "I used to do that too," Michael said. "With Sarah. Offered everything I had if she could just stay a little longer. Obviously nobody took the deal. But I understand the impulse. When you're powerless, you'll try anything to feel like you have some control." They sat in silence, shoulders touching, drawing comfort from proximity. Finally, Michael spoke again. "Lisa, I need to tell you something. Earlier, when they were asking about insurance and payment, the admitting clerk recognized me. By the time Emma was in the ICU, half the hospital knew Michael Torres's daughter was here. Is going to get out. The privacy I've been maintaining, the low profile, it's about to collapse." "Does that matter?" Lisa asked. "Right now? When Emma's sick?" "It matters because of you," Michael said. "Because once people know I've been helping you, they'll make assumptions. They'll say you're using me, that you seduced a billionaire to fund your legal defense, that you're a gold digger or a manipulator. The very people we're trying to convince of your innocence will use our connection against you." Lisa felt something cold settle in her stomach. She'd been so focused on the case, on Emma, on day-to-day survival, that she hadn't thought about how her association with Michael would look to the outside world. "Maybe I should leave," she said quietly. "Move out. Create distance. Protect your reputation and mine." "No," Michael said firmly. "Absolutely not. Running would look worse, like we have something to hide. And more than that, I don't want you to leave. Emma doesn't want you to leave. You're part of our lives now, Lisa. Part of our family. Whatever happens, we face it together." "Michael." "I know what you're thinking," he interrupted. "That this is charity, that you're a burden, that we're better off without you complicating things. But you're wrong. You've given us as much as we've given you. Emma's happier than she's been since Sarah died. I'm more engaged with life than I've been in 2 years. You didn't just take from us. You gave us purpose, connection, reasons to care about something beyond our own grief." "People won't see it that way," Lisa said. "Then people are wrong," Michael said simply. "And we'll prove them wrong by living our truth. You're fighting for your name, for your reputation. I'm fighting beside you. That's not exploitation. That's friendship. Maybe more than friendship, but at minimum, it's real connection between real people. And anyone who can't see that isn't worth convincing." "More than friendship?" Lisa repeated, her heart suddenly racing. Michael met her eyes. "Maybe. Probably. I don't know. The timing's terrible. The situation's complicated. But yes, I have feelings for you that go beyond friendship. And before you panic or run or tell me all the reasons it's a bad idea, I'm not asking for anything. I'm just being honest. No more secrets, remember? No more hiding who we are." Lisa couldn't breathe, couldn't process. A few hours ago, she'd been willing to trade everything for Emma's life. Now Michael was offering something she hadn't dared to want. Connection. Possibility. The beginning of something that could be beautiful if they were brave enough to try. "I have feelings too," she admitted. "For you. For Emma. For this life you've built. But Michael, I'm broken. Still healing. Still fighting battles. I don't know if I have anything worth giving you." "You're giving it already," Michael said. "Every day. Every conversation. Every moment you show up. That's enough, Lisa. You're enough." Before she could respond, Michael's phone buzzed. He checked it, his face lighting up. Emma's fever broke. "She's asking for us." They hurried back to the ICU where Emma was indeed awake, groggy but alert. Her eyes found Lisa immediately. "You're here," Emma said, her voice weak. "Daddy said you'd be here." "Of course I'm here," Lisa said, taking her small hand carefully, mindful of the four. Where else would I be? Some people leave when things get hard, Emma said with startling wisdom. But you're not like that. You stay. Even when it's scary. Lisa felt her throat close with emotion. Yes, sweetheart. I stay. That's what family does. Are you our family now? Emma asked. Lisa glanced at Michael, who nodded permission. If you want me to be. I do, Emma said. I want you to be my family. You and Daddy. That's what I wished for when I blew out my birthday candles last month. I wished for our family to get bigger. And then you showed up. So maybe wishes do come true. Maybe they do, Lisa whispered. They stayed with Emma until visiting hours ended, reluctantly leaving only when nurses insisted she needed rest. In the parking lot, under fluorescent lights that made everything look surreal, Michael and Lisa stood by the Honda Civic, neither quite ready to return to normal life. Thank you, Michael said, for being there today, for caring about Emma, for offering to leave if it would protect us. That took courage. I meant it, Lisa said. If my presence hurts you or Emma, I'll go. I'll figure something else out. Your presence heals us, Michael corrected. Both of us. Emma's wishes don't come true by accident, Lisa. She saw something in you that first night. Something good and worth keeping. So did I. So stop trying to protect us by leaving and start protecting us by staying. He pulled her into a hug and Lisa let herself sink into it. Let herself be held by someone who actually cared. Let herself feel just for a moment like she belonged somewhere. When they finally pulled apart, Michael's hand lingered on her cheek. More than friendship, he said softly. When you're ready. When we're ready. No pressure. No expectations. Just a possibility. Possibility, Lisa echoed. I think I can handle the possibility. They drove home in comfortable silence, both processing the day's emotional whiplash. Emma would recover. The case against Marcus was building. And something new was emerging between Lisa and Michael, fragile and terrifying and impossibly hopeful. Back at the apartment, Lisa collapsed on her couch while Michael checked messages and returned calls. The normality felt jarring after the hospital's intensity. She'd been prepared to lose everything again today. Instead, she'd gained something. Clarity about what mattered. Permission to want more than just survival. Her phone buzzed. An email from James Crawford with the subject line, Breakthrough. Lisa opened it, her heart racing. Marcus Chin booked a flight from Singapore to Vancouver. Arriving Wednesday morning. Claire Chin booked a flight to Vancouver on the same day, different airline. They're meeting. And we'll be waiting. This was it. The moment they'd been building toward. A chance to confront Marcus, to get answers, to take the first real step toward vindication. Lisa showed Michael the email. His expression shifted from exhaustion to determination. Wednesday, he said. We end this Wednesday. We end it, Lisa agreed. But as she lay in bed that night, Lisa realized ending one chapter meant beginning another. Getting justice against Marcus was crucial, necessary, deserved. But it was also just one piece of rebuilding her life. The bigger question was what came after. Who would she be when she wasn't fighting? What would she want when she wasn't just surviving? And could she be brave enough to reach for it? Tomorrow, Emma would come home from the hospital. Tomorrow, they'd plan the confrontation with Marcus. Tomorrow, life would continue its messy, complicated, beautiful unfolding. But tonight, Lisa let herself imagine a future beyond vindication. A future with Emma's laughter and Michael's quiet strength and a family that had chosen each other despite everything. It was the most dangerous thing she'd ever imagined. And the most hopeful. Wednesday morning, Lisa woke to the sound of her phone exploding with notifications. Emails. Text messages. Social media mentions. Something had happened, something big, and the world wanted to make sure she knew about it. She grabbed her phone, scrolling through the chaos. Then she saw the headline that made her stomach drop. Cloud Vision founder Michael Torres emerges from seclusion. Daughter's hospital stay reveals billionaire's secret life. The article had photos. Michael entering the hospital, worry etched on his face. Michael in the ICU waiting room, holding Lisa's hand. The caption, Torres with unidentified woman, source suggests romantic involvement. Another headline, disgraced CEO Lisa Kingston linked to tech billionaire. Did she seduce Torres for financial support? And another, from homeless to high society, Kingston's calculated comeback? Lisa felt nausea rising. This was exactly what Michael had warned about. Their connection, their genuine care for each other, being twisted into something ugly. Her redemption story becoming a gold digger narrative. She found Michael already awake, sitting at the dining table with his laptop open, his expression grim. "You've seen it," he said. Not a question. "Yeah." Lisa sank into the chair across from him. "It's bad. Truth doesn't matter as much as the narrative." "Maybe I should do an interview," Lisa said. "Explain how we really met. Make people understand." "That would make it worse," Michael said gently. "Anything you say will be twisted. If you defend our relationship, you look defensive. If you deny romantic feelings, you look dishonest. The court of public opinion doesn't care about nuance, Lisa. They want heroes and villains, not complicated humans trying to figure things out. So we just let them write whatever story they want?" Lisa's frustration boiled over. "Let them make me into some calculating seductress who targeted you for your money? We let them talk while we work," Michael said. "Today we meet Marcus in Vancouver. We get our evidence. We start the real process of clearing your name. That's what actually matters, not what some blogger writes about us." A text came through on Lisa's phone. From David Chin. "FYI, someone leaked Lisa's connection to Michael to the press." "Investigating who? Someone on your team told the media?" Lisa asked, showing Michael the message. "Maybe. Or hospital staff. Or someone who saw us and recognized me. Does it matter? It's out now. We deal with it." But dealing with it meant watching as their private lives became public spectacle. By mid-morning, photos of Lisa at Cloud Vision headquarters had surfaced. Speculation about how long she'd been hiding with Michael. Think pieces about wealthy men and the vulnerable women they exploit. The irony wasn't lost on Lisa. The very people who'd condemned her as a fraudster now condemned her as a victim. Either way, she couldn't win. Either way, her agency was erased, her choices questioned, her humanity reduced to trope. Patricia called around 11. "I'm fielding media requests by the dozen. Everyone wants comments from you, from Michael, from Cloud Vision. My advice is radio silence. Let your lawyers do the talking once we have Marcus in custody." "When do we leave for Vancouver?" Lisa asked Michael after the call ended. 2 hours. James has a team in place. Marcus lands at 1 p.m. We'll be there waiting." "But Lisa," he paused, his expression serious, "are you ready for this? Seeing him again? Confronting the person who destroyed your life?" Lisa thought about it. About the rage that had sustained her through weeks of homelessness. About the betrayal that had shattered her ability to trust. About the man who'd smiled at her across conference tables while planning her destruction. "I'm ready," she said. "More than ready. I need to look him in the eye and ask why. Not because I expect an answer that will make sense, but because I need him to see that I survived. That he didn't break me permanently." They picked up Emma from Patricia's house, where she'd spent the night after being discharged from the hospital. She was still weak but recovering, her spirits lifted by a new stuffed penguin Patricia had bought her. "I saw the news," Patricia said quietly to Michael as Emma gathered her things. "About the media storm. How are you holding up?" "We're managing," Michael said. "It was inevitable once I came out of hiding. Might as well be for something that matters." "For someone who matters," Patricia corrected, glancing at Lisa. "Just be careful. Both of you. The world's watching now." The flight to Vancouver was tense. Michael had arranged a private plane, one of the few luxuries he'd allowed himself since scaling back his lifestyle. Emma slept most of the way, still recovering. Lisa stared out the window, rehearsing conversations with Marcus that would never actually happen the way she imagined them. James Crawford met them at the Vancouver airport with 2 other men, former law enforcement now working private security. The plan was simple. Marcus and Claire would meet at a coffee shop downtown. James's team would approach them separately, suggest a private conversation, and escort them to a location where lawyers and law enforcement could properly question them. It has to be clean, James emphasized. No confrontations in public. No drama that could compromise the legal case. We get them to agree to talk, we record everything, and we build airtight evidence of their conspiracy. And if they refuse? Lisa asked. They won't, James said confidently, because we have enough evidence already to make their lives very difficult. Cooperation is their best option, and my bet is Marcus is smart enough to know it. They set up in a building across from the coffee shop, surveillance equipment tracking Marcus and Claire's movements. Michael stayed with Lisa, his presence grounding her. Emma remained in the plane with a security guard and a tablet full of movies, oblivious to the operation unfolding. At 2:47 p.m., Marcus entered the coffee shop. Lisa's breath caught. He looked good, healthy, well-rested, not at all like someone who'd committed fraud and destroyed lives. He ordered a latte and sat at a corner table, checking his phone with the casual ease of someone without a care in the world. 15 minutes later, Claire arrived. They greeted each other with a hug, two siblings catching up, nothing in their body language suggesting criminal conspiracy. They could have been any family members meeting for coffee. But the surveillance equipment picked up their conversation. And what Lisa heard made her blood boil. How much longer do we have to stay away? Claire asked. I miss home. I miss my life. Another 6 months, Marcus replied. Maybe a year. Once the heat dies down completely, once Lisa's either in prison or has given up, we can start slowly reintegrating. The money's safe. The investments are paying off. We just have to be patient. I still don't understand why we had to frame her so completely, Claire said. Couldn't we have just taken the money and run? She would have fought back, Marcus explained. Lisa's brilliant and determined. The only way to ensure she couldn't come after us was to completely destroy her credibility. If she's seen as a criminal, nobody listens when she claims innocence. It was necessary, Claire. Harsh but necessary. Lisa felt Michael's hand on her shoulder, steadying her. Hearing Marcus discuss her destruction so casually, so analytically, as if she were a problem to be solved rather than a person he'd betrayed, it was worse than she'd imagined. James gave the signal. His team moved in. Within minutes, Marcus and Claire were being escorted to a private location, told that they were wanted for questioning in connection with fraud allegations, that cooperation would be in their best interest. Lisa watched through the surveillance feed as Marcus's confident expression crumbled into panic. As Claire started crying. As they realized their careful plan had unraveled. Do you want to be there? James asked Lisa. When we question them. Or would you prefer to wait? Lisa thought about it. About the confrontation she'd imagined so many times. About telling Marcus exactly what his betrayal had cost her. But looking at him now, pathetic and scared, she realized she didn't need that confrontation anymore. I don't need to see him, she said. I just need the evidence. The confession. The proof that clears my name. He's already lost everything that matters. His freedom, his future, his ability to ever be trusted again. Anything I say to him would be redundant. Michael looked at her with something like pride. That's growth. A month ago, you would have wanted to confront him. A month ago, I needed revenge to prove I still existed, Lisa said. Now I know I exist regardless of what happens to Marcus. He doesn't get to be the main character in my story anymore. He's just the antagonist who got what he deserved. The interrogation lasted 4 hours. James and his team, along with FBI agents who'd been briefed on the case, extracted full confessions from both Marcus and Claire. The fraud had been planned for over a year. Marcus had been siphoning money gradually, building his exit strategy, waiting for the right moment to execute the final theft. Claire had provided technical support, creating the false digital trail that pointed to Lisa. She'd accessed systems using stolen credentials, planted evidence, manufactured documents. For $250,000 and a promise of more once the money was fully laundered, she'd helped destroy her brother's business partner. By evening, the confessions were recorded, signed, and delivered to the appropriate authorities. Federal charges would be filed. Arrests would be made. And Lisa's name would be cleared. It's over, James said, meeting them at a hotel where they'd been waiting. You won, Lisa. It's actually over. Lisa felt strangely numb. She'd been fighting for so long that victory felt surreal and anticlimactic. Where was the dramatic confrontation? The tearful vindication? The moment of transcendent triumph? Instead, she just felt tired but grateful and ready to move forward. What happens now? She asked. Now we go public, James said. We release the evidence, hold a press conference, let the world know what really happened. Your lawyers will file motions to have all charges dismissed. The FBI will issue a statement acknowledging their error in initially pursuing you. Bright Future's board will probably reach out about reinstating you as CEO. Bright Future. The company that had been her whole identity. The life she'd lost. She could have it back now. Everything she'd fought for, everything she'd sacrificed for, was within reach again. So why did the thought of returning to that life feel hollow? Michael must have seen something in her expression. You don't have to decide anything tonight, he said gently. You just got your life back. Take time to figure out what you actually want that life to look like. They flew back to Seattle that night. Emma woke up as they landed, asking groggily about the trip. They told her they'd caught the bad people, that Lisa was going to be okay now, that everything was going to be okay. Good, Emma mumbled, already falling back asleep. I like it when everything's okay. At the apartment, after Emma was in bed, Lisa and Michael found themselves on the balcony again. Their spot. Their space for truth-telling. How do you feel? Michael asked. I don't know, Lisa admitted. I should feel triumphant. Vindicated. But mostly I just feel relieved. Like I've been holding my breath for months and I can finally exhale. That's normal, Michael said. You've been in survival mode. Now that the immediate threat is over, your body's trying to process everything you've been through. I got my life back today, Lisa said. But I'm not sure I want the life I had before. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, Michael said. The life you had before didn't leave room for Emma's science fairs or lazy Sunday mornings or asking what actually makes you happy. Why would you want to go back to that? Bright Future's board is going to expect me to return, Lisa said. To resume my position, rebuild what was lost. And part of me wants that. Wants to prove I can do it, that Marcus didn't permanently destroy what I built. And the other part? Michael prompted. The other part wonders if I was building the right thing in the first place, Lisa said quietly. I created Bright Future to prove I belonged in tech. To show that a black woman from an immigrant family could succeed at the But somewhere along the way, the proving became the point instead of the work itself. I lost sight of why I wanted to build something in the first place. So what do you want to build now? Michael asked. Lisa thought about the last month. About Emma's curiosity and Michael's quiet strength and the satisfaction of solving problems that mattered to actual humans rather than just investors. About Patricia and David and James, people who'd helped her because the work was right, not because there was profit in it. I want to build something that helps people like me, she said slowly, the idea forming as she spoke. People who've lost everything and need a path back. Not just jobs or money, but support systems. Legal help. Financial advice. Mental health resources. A way to rebuild with dignity intact. That's beautiful, Michael said. And exactly the kind of thing someone who's been through it would understand how to do right. It wouldn't be as profitable as Bright Future, Lisa said. Might not even be profitable at all initially. Investors wouldn't touch it. Good thing you know a billionaire who invests in things that matter rather than things that make money, Michael said with a small smile. Lisa looked at him. You'd fund this? A nonprofit focused on redemption and second chances? That's not exactly a typical investment. I'd partner with you on it, Michael corrected. Not as investor and founder, but as equals building something that matters. Your lived experience, my resources, our shared belief that people deserve second chances. And Lisa, he met her eyes, it would give us a reason to keep working together. If you wanted that. Are you asking me to stay? Lisa asked, her heart racing. Not just in the apartment, but in Seattle? In your life? In Emma's life? I'm asking you to consider it, Michael said carefully. Emma adores you. I care about you deeply. More than I probably should given the complexity of our situation. But I also know you just got your freedom back. The last thing you need is pressure to commit to anything before you're ready. Lisa stood, pacing the small balcony. A month ago she'd had nothing. Now she had options. She could return to Bright Future, reclaim her CEO title, rebuild her reputation in the tech world. She could start fresh somewhere else. A new company, a new city, a new identity. Or she could stay here, in this modest apartment with this quiet man and his amazing daughter, and build something different. Something meaningful. I need to think about it, she said finally. Not because I don't want to stay. Because I need to make sure I'm choosing this for the right reasons. Not running from my old life, but running toward a new one. Not dependent on you, but independent and choosing you anyway. Take all the time you need, Michael said. We're not going anywhere. That night, Lisa lay on her couch, no longer a desperate woman accepting charity but someone with choices, with options, with a future opening up before her like a flower in bloom. Tomorrow, James would hold the press conference. The world would learn the truth. Lisa Kingston would be vindicated. But vindication, she was learning, wasn't the same as redemption. Vindication was external, other people acknowledging they'd been wrong about you. Redemption was internal, becoming someone worth being regardless of what others thought. She'd spent her whole life seeking vindication. Maybe it was time to focus on redemption instead. On becoming not the person the world wanted her to be, but the person she actually was underneath all the proving and performing and protecting. And maybe, just maybe, that person could be happy here. With Michael and Emma and a new mission that valued humanity over profit. With a life built on connection rather than achievement. With enough courage to choose love over legacy. Maybe. The press conference was scheduled for Friday morning, giving Lisa 2 days to prepare. But the media wasn't patient. By Thursday, leaked information about Marcus's arrest had triggered a frenzy of speculation and headlines. Marcus Chin arrested in international fraud scheme. Lisa Kingston may be innocent. Sources say new evidence emerges. Tech world shocked as Bright Future fraud investigation takes unexpected turn. Lisa's phone hadn't stopped ringing. Her old lawyers suddenly available again. Board members from Bright Future, eager to discuss her return. Journalists wanting exclusive interviews. Even former friends who disappeared during her crisis, now calling to check in and offer support. She ignored most of them. Let her lawyer field the business calls. Focused instead on the present moment. On Emma's volcano, which they'd spent Wednesday evening perfecting. On Michael's quiet presence as they worked side by side. On the strange peace that came from knowing the truth would finally be told. Thursday afternoon, Patricia called with news. Bright Future's board wants to meet with you. They're prepared to offer a full reinstatement, back pay for the time you were suspended, and a public apology. They're also willing to remove Marcus's name from all company materials and rename the headquarters after you. Rename the headquarters? Lisa repeated, incredulous. They're scrambling, Patricia said. They convicted you in the court of public opinion. Now they're terrified you'll sue them into oblivion. This is damage control, Lisa. Make no mistake. What do you think I should do? Lisa asked. I think you should tell them to wait, Patricia said. Don't make any decisions while you're still processing. Take your time. Figure out what you actually want before you let them pressure you into taking back a life that might not fit anymore. It was good advice. But Lisa couldn't help feeling the pull of Bright Future. It had been her baby, her creation, her proof of worth. Walking away from it felt like admitting defeat, like letting Marcus win even though he'd lost. That evening, Michael found her staring at her laptop, Bright Future's website open on the screen. The company had continued operating under temporary leadership. The technology she developed was still being used, still helping hospitals protect patient data. Her legacy existed even in her absence. Penny for your thoughts, Michael said, sitting beside her. I'm thinking about what I owe Bright Future, Lisa said. The employees who stayed, who kept believing in the mission even when they thought I'd betrayed it. The customers who depend on our technology. If I don't go back, am I abandoning them? Or are you trusting them to continue the good work without needing you to validate it? Michael countered. Lisa, bright future was your vision. But it's grown beyond you now. It exists independent of whether you're the CEO. The question isn't what you owe the company. It's whether being CEO again is what you actually want. I don't know what I want, Lisa admitted. For so long, my identity was tied to bright future. Being CEO was who I was. Without that, I'm not sure who I am. Then maybe it's time to find out, Michael said gently. Spend the next few weeks discovering Lisa Kingston without any titles. No CEO. No founder. No victim. No vindicated hero. Just you. What do you like? What makes you happy? What kind of life do you want to wake up to? That sounds terrifying, Lisa said. It is, Michael agreed. But it's also how you build a real life instead of just a successful one. I learned that the hard way after Sarah died. Success is easy to define, society gives you a rubric. But meaning? Purpose? Joy? You have to discover those for yourself. Friday morning arrived with clear skies and crisp autumn air. Lisa dressed carefully for the press conference, business professional but not corporate. She wanted to look strong without looking like she was performing strength. Michael and Emma came with her, Michael insisting that she shouldn't face the media alone. Emma, still recovering but insistent on being there, wore her favorite purple shirt and carried a sign she'd made, "My friend Lisa is brave." The press conference was held at Cloud Vision headquarters, James's team having coordinated with Lisa's lawyers and the FBI. The room was packed with journalists, cameras, and familiar faces from the tech world. Patricia stood at the front, professional and commanding. Lisa took the podium, her heart racing but her voice steady. She'd written remarks but found herself setting them aside. 4 months ago, she began, my business partner committed fraud and framed me for it. In the process, I lost my company, my reputation, my home, and my sense of who I was. I spent 3 weeks living in my car, invisible to a world that had once celebrated me. I know what it's like to fall from grace, to be convicted by public opinion without trial, to watch everything you've built disappear while people you thought were friends look away. She paused, making eye contact with the audience. Yesterday, Marcus Chin and his sister Claire Chen were arrested and confessed to conspiracy to commit fraud. The evidence is overwhelming. I am innocent. I have always been innocent. And while vindication feels good, it doesn't erase what I've been through. It doesn't give me back the 4 months I spent fighting for my life. But here's what I did gain, Lisa continued, her voice growing stronger. I learned who I am when everything's been stripped away. I learned that human kindness still exists, even in the darkest moments. And I learned that success and worth are not the same thing. You can be successful and hollow. Or you can be building toward meaning even when nobody's watching. She glanced at Michael and Emma in the front row. Emma gave her a thumbs up. I'm not returning to Bright Future as CEO, Lisa announced, hearing the shocked murmurs from the crowd. The company is doing important work and I'm proud of what we built. But it's time for new leadership to take it forward. Instead, I'm starting a new organization focused on helping people who've lost everything rebuild with dignity and support. People who've been wrongfully accused. People who've been displaced by circumstances beyond their control. People who just need someone to believe in them when they've stopped believing in themselves. The questions came fast after that. About Marcus. About the fraud. About her relationship with Michael. That last one made her pause. Michael Torres is my friend, she said carefully. He and his daughter Emma helped me when I had nothing. Not because they wanted something from me, but because it was the right thing to do. Our connection is genuine and based on mutual respect. Anyone who wants to make it into something sordid is revealing more about themselves than about us. After the press conference, Lisa was mobbed by well-wishers, apologists, and opportunists. The same people who'd ignored her calls now wanted to congratulate her resilience. The board members who'd suspended her now praised her grace under pressure. Patricia ran interference, ushering Lisa away from the crowd to a private office where she could breathe. You did beautifully, Patricia said. Honest, strong, and you completely controlled the narrative. The decision to not return to Bright Future was inspired. It shifts the story from victim gets life back 2, Survivor chooses new path. Survivor chooses new path. Much more powerful. It felt right, Lisa said. For the first time in months, maybe years, I made a decision based on what I wanted rather than what I thought I should do. Michael knocked on the door, Emma bouncing beside him. There's someone here who wants to see you, he said. Lisa's parents stepped into the room. Her mother, shorter than Lisa remembered, wearing traditional Jamaican attire. Her father, gray-haired now, his face lined with worry that softened when he saw her. All you and me, her mother breathed. My daughter. Lisa crossed the room in 3 steps, falling into her mother's embrace. Her father wrapped his arms around both of them, and for a moment, Lisa was just a daughter again. Not a CEO. Not a survivor. Just a child being held by the people who'd loved her first and best. We're sorry, her father said, his voice thick with emotion. Sorry we doubted. Sorry we couldn't face you when you needed us. We were so afraid, so ashamed. Shoo, Lisa said. I understand. I understand why it was hard. But I'm okay now. I'm actually more than okay. They talked for an hour, Lisa's parents marveling at her strength, apologizing repeatedly, asking about her plans. Lisa introduced them to Michael and Emma, watching her mother's eyes light up with understanding when she saw how Michael looked at Lisa. This is the man who helped you, her mother said in Yoruba, knowing Lisa would understand. The one who saw you when others looked away. Yes, Lisa replied in the same language. This is that man. He looks at you with respect, her father observed, also in Yoruba. Not pity. Not ownership. Respect. This is good. After her parents left with promises to visit soon, to meet properly, to begin rebuilding what had been broken, Lisa found herself alone with Michael in Patricia's office. Emma had gone with Patricia to get ice cream, giving them privacy. Your parents are wonderful, Michael said. Emma's already planning all the Jamaican food she wants your mother to teach her to make. They liked you, Lisa said. Both of you. My mother, she sees things. She saw how you look at me. How do I look at you? Michael asked, moving closer. Like I matter, Lisa said softly. Not for what I can do or what I represent. Just because I'm me. You do matter, Michael said. Very much. To Emma. To me. And now to yourself, I think. That's what I heard in your speech. Someone who knows their own worth regardless of titles or vindication. I learned that from you, Lisa said. From watching you walk away from being publicly recognized as a billionaire to just be Emma's dad. From seeing you value humanity over achievement. You taught me that who we are matters more than what we've accomplished. Sometimes the greatest victories aren't about getting back what you lost. They're about discovering what you really needed all along. Lisa had fought for vindication and found something better. Genuine connection, meaningful purpose, and a family built on choice rather than obligation. If you've ever had to rebuild your life, if you've ever discovered that losing everything was actually finding yourself, we'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below with where you're watching from and what unexpected blessings came from your darkest moments. Because your journey matters, and sometimes sharing our stories is how we remind each other that we're never truly alone in the struggle. This community is built on real people facing real challenges and choosing real courage. Join us in the comments. Let's build this second light together. 6 months had passed since the press conference. Marcus and Claire were both convicted, serving significant prison sentences. Bright Future thrived under new leadership, and occasionally sent Lisa consulting requests, which she politely declined. Second Light Foundation officially launched in February, housed in modest offices near Cloud Vision headquarters. The mission was simple but profound. Provide comprehensive support to people rebuilding from catastrophic setbacks. Legal aid, financial counseling, mental health services, job placement, and something less tangible but equally important. A community that understood what it meant to start over. Lisa served as executive director, Michael as board chair. They worked together daily, their partnership deepening into something remarkable. Not just romantic, though that had blossomed beautifully, but genuinely collaborative. Two minds that challenged and complemented each other, building something neither could have created alone. Emma thrived. Her volcano had won second place at the science fair, a result she accepted with remarkable grace. First place was good, she'd said philosophically, but we had more fun than they did. That counts for something. Lisa had moved out of the apartment, finally, but only into the unit next door. Close enough to be part of their daily lives, separate enough to maintain healthy boundaries. Some nights she slept at her own place. Other nights, she fell asleep on Michael's couch after movie nights with Emma and never bothered going home. It was, Lisa thought, exactly the kind of life she'd never known she wanted. Messy and imperfect and utterly real. One evening in March, Michael asked her to dinner. Just the two of them, Emma staying with Patricia for the night. They went to a small Ethiopian restaurant, the kind of place that reminded Lisa of her childhood. Over injera and what, Michael took her hand. I want to talk about the future, he said. Our future. Okay, Lisa said, her heart suddenly racing. I love you, Michael said simply. Emma loves you. You've become family in every way that matters. And I want to make it official. He pulled out a small box and Lisa's breath caught. This isn't a ring, he said quickly. Not yet. I know we're still figuring things out, still building our lives together. But this, he opened the box to reveal a key, is a key to the house I just bought. Big enough for all of us. A real home, not apartments. A place where we can build a life together, where Emma can grow up, where you can have space to be yourself while being part of us. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. I'm asking you to build a home with me. To choose this family as deliberately as we've chosen you. Lisa stared at the key, her vision blurring with tears. 6 months ago, she'd been homeless. Now someone was offering her not just a home, but a family. A future. A life beyond what she'd ever imagined possible. Yes, she said. Yes, I want to build a home with you. With Emma. With all of this. They moved into the house in April. It was perfect, not ostentatiously large, but spacious enough for everyone to have their own space. A yard where Emma could play. An office where Lisa and Michael could work. A kitchen big enough for family dinners and the Jamaican food Lisa's mother had started teaching them to cook. Emma got to decorate her own room, choosing purple everything. Lisa's room, down the hall from Michael's, was a sanctuary of calm blues and soft grays. Michael's room remained sparse, his minimalist aesthetic unchanged by wealth or circumstance. But most nights, Lisa ended up in Michael's room anyway. They'd talk until late about Second Light cases, about Emma's latest interests, about their own continuing healing. Then they'd fall asleep tangled together, two people who'd survived the worst and found the best in each other. 1 year after her exoneration, Lisa received a letter from Marcus. He was in federal prison, would be for years to come, but he'd written to apologize. I don't expect forgiveness, the letter read. What I did was unforgivable. But I want you to know that I've had a lot of time to think about who I was and why I made the choices I made. Greed, yes, but also envy. You were so good at everything, Lisa. So brilliant and successful and admired. I couldn't stand being in your shadow. So I destroyed you to feel bigger. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever done, and I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. You deserved better. You deserved a real partner, not someone who saw your success as a threat. I hope you've rebuilt. I hope you're happy. You always deserved happiness. Lisa read the letter twice, feeling nothing. No rage. No satisfaction. Just a distant acknowledgement that Marcus was another human being who'd made terrible choices and would live with the consequences. She showed the letter to Michael. Should I write back? She asked. Do you want to? He countered. No, Lisa realized. What would I even say? I've moved on. He's irrelevant to my life now. Responding would just give him significance he doesn't deserve. She threw the letter away. Marcus Chin had taken so much from her once. She wouldn't give him another moment of her attention. Instead, she focused on the present. On the 50 people Second Light had helped in its first year. On Emma's 9th birthday party they were planning. On the ring Michael kept almost showing her but then chickening out about, thinking she didn't notice. She noticed. And when he was ready, she'd say yes. But there was no rush. They had time. They had each other. They had a life built on authenticity and choice and mutual growth. Everything else was just details. 2 years after that rainy night outside the grocery store, Lisa stood on a stage at a tech conference, delivering a keynote speech. But this wasn't about artificial intelligence or data privacy or the next big disruption. This was about being human in an increasingly automated world. We measure success by metrics, Lisa told the audience of tech professionals. Revenue, users, valuation, growth rates. But we rarely measure the things that actually matter. Impact, connection, the lives changed by our work, the humanity preserved in our systems. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces. Some she recognized from her bright future days. Others were strangers. All of them are listening. 3 years ago, I was the CEO of a successful company. I had everything our industry values: funding, press coverage, a seat at important tables. Then I lost it all overnight. Fraud accusations, public disgrace, homelessness. I spent 3 weeks living in my car, invisible to a world that had once celebrated me. The room was silent, attentive. A man I'd never met found me collapsed on a sidewalk. He was wearing jeans with holes in them, driving a beat-up Honda. He had every reason to walk past me like everyone else had. But he stopped. He helped. He and his daughter reminded me that I was still human, still valuable, still worth saving. Not because of what I'd accomplished, but because of who I was underneath all the titles and achievements. Lisa smiled, finding Michael in the audience. He sat in the back row as always, preferring shadows to spotlight. Emma sat beside him, now 8 years old, wearing the "My Mom is a Superhero" t-shirt she'd insisted on for today. They'd had that conversation about what to call Lisa, and Emma had decided on Mom Lisa to distinguish from Mom Sarah, who's in heaven. That man turned out to be Michael Torres, founder of Cloud Vision Solutions, Lisa continued. But when he helped me, I didn't know that. I just knew he saw me as a human being worth caring about. That gift, that simple act of seeing someone's humanity, saved my life. Not just physically but spiritually. It reminded me of what actually matters. She clicked to the next slide, showing the Second Light Foundation's mission statement. We're told that success is about climbing higher, earning more, achieving bigger things. But I'm here to tell you that real success is about how many people you help up when they're down. How many lives you touch with genuine kindness. How much humanity you preserve in yourself and others as you build your empires. Lisa shared Second Light statistics. 300 people helped in 2 years. An 89% success rate in rebuilding lives. Partnerships with legal aid organizations, mental health providers, job training programs. But more than that, a community of people who'd lost everything and found each other. One of our clients was a nurse who lost her license after a medication error that wasn't her fault, Lisa said. She spent 2 years fighting the system, depleting her savings, losing her home. We helped her get legal representation, supported her through the appeals process, and connected her with housing assistance. Last month, her license was reinstated. She's back to work, saving lives because someone believed in her when everyone else had given up. More stories followed. A veteran wrongfully discharged. A teacher falsely accused of misconduct. A small business owner bankrupted by a partner's embezzlement. Each one a person who'd fallen through society's cracks and been caught by Second Light's safety net. This work doesn't generate venture capital returns, Lisa said. It doesn't scale the way tech companies scale. It's not disruptive in the way we usually use that word. But it disrupts something important. The narrative that people who've failed deserve to stay down. The belief that mistakes or misfortunes define someone's worth. The assumption that success is a one-way street with no room for second chances. She clicked to her final slide, a photo of Emma's volcano from the science fair 2 years ago, the construction paper butterfly she'd made still pinned to Lisa's office wall, and a recent picture of their family, Michael and Lisa and Emma and Lisa's parents, all gathered around their dining table. I lost everything and gained something better, Lisa said. A family built on choice. A purpose built on compassion. A life built on meaning rather than metrics. That's not the success story tech conferences usually celebrate. But it's real. It's sustainable. And it's replicable by anyone willing to prioritize humanity over achievement. She paused, letting the message sink in. So here's my challenge to you. Whatever you're building, whatever empire you're creating, ask yourself, does this make people more human or less? Does this bring connection or isolation? Does this help people up or just help you rise? Because at the end of your life, nobody's going to remember your valuation. They're going to remember how you made them feel. Whether you saw them, whether you cared. The applause started slowly, then built to something thunderous. People stood. Lisa saw tears on faces, nods of recognition, that look of someone who just had their perspective shifted. After the speech, she was surrounded. Not by investors or competitors or people wanting something from her, but by genuine connection. A young woman who'd lost her startup and needed to hear she could rebuild. A man who'd been wrongfully terminated and didn't know where to start fighting back. A CEO who admitted he'd been so focused on growth that he'd forgotten why he started his company in the first place. Lisa listened to each of them. Gave out second light's contact information. Offered encouragement. Really saw them the way Michael had seen her that rainy night. Michael and Emma waited patiently until the crowd dispersed. When Lisa finally reached them, Emma threw her arms around her waist. "You were so good, Mom Lisa." Everyone was crying. Happy crying, not sad crying. "Thanks, sweetheart," Lisa said, running her hand over Emma's braids, French braids that Lisa could now do in her sleep. Michael pulled her close, kissing her forehead. "I'm so proud of you," he said quietly. "Not for the speech, though it was brilliant. For becoming who you were always meant to be." "I couldn't have done it without you," Lisa said. "No," Michael corrected gently. "You would have found your way eventually. I just had the privilege of being there when you did. We helped each other, remember? That's how this works." That evening, they had dinner at their favorite spot, the small restaurant where Michael had given Lisa the house key 2 years ago. Emma ordered her usual chicken tenders, while Michael and Lisa shared Ethiopian dishes that had become comfort food for their blended life. "I have something for you," Michael said after they'd finished eating. His hand went to his pocket and Lisa's heart began racing. Was this it? Finally? He pulled out a small box. Opened it. Inside was a ring, simple but beautiful, a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. "Lisa Kingston," Michael said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes, "you've been my partner, my best friend, my co-parent, and the love I never expected to find again. You've shown me that life after loss can be even richer than life before. You've taught Emma that family is about choice and love, not just biology. You've made me a better man, a better father, a better human. Will you marry me? Will you make this family official in every possible way?" Emma was bouncing in her seat, barely containing her excitement. "Say yes, Mom Lisa. Say yes." Lisa looked at Michael, this man who'd saved her life by seeing her humanity. At Emma, this child who'd captured her heart with crayon name cards and pure acceptance. At the life they'd built together, messy and imperfect and utterly real. "Yes," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, I'll marry you. I'll marry both of you, this whole beautiful family." Michael slipped the ring on her finger while Emma cheered loud enough that other diners turned to look, smiled when they realized what was happening, and broke into applause. "Finally," Emma said. "I've been keeping this secret for 2 whole weeks. Do you know how hard that was? I almost told Zoe like 17 times." "You did great, princess," Michael said, laughing. "Best secret keeper in the world." They walked home through Seattle streets, Emma between them, each holding one of her hands and swinging her up in the air occasionally, her delighted laughter echoing off the buildings. Just a family on a Friday evening, unremarkable to anyone passing by, but everything to each other. The wedding was 6 months later, a small ceremony in their backyard. Lisa's parents flew in from Jamaica, where they'd gone to celebrate their retirement. Michael's family came from California, including his sister whose clothes had started Lisa's transformation. Patricia served as Michael's best woman, while Emma was Lisa's maid of honor, taking the responsibility very seriously. Sarah's absence was acknowledged with a candle lighting, Michael explaining to the gathered guests that his first wife had told him not to be alone forever, that she'd wanted him to find love again. "Sarah sent Lisa to us," Emma said with absolute conviction during her toast. "I'm sure of it. She knew we needed her." Lisa's vows included promises to Emma as much as to Michael. To be present. To show up. To love unconditionally. To build a life focused on meaning rather than achievement. To remember that family is built on choice and daily commitment, not just moments of declaration. Michael's vows were simple. I promise to see you always. Not the CEO or the nonprofit director or any of the roles you play. Just you, Lisa, in all your complexity and humanity. I promise to support your dreams while building our shared reality. I promise to love you through everything, not despite your scars but because they're part of the beautiful whole that is you. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. The reception was joyful chaos. Emma's school friends mixed with tech executives and Second Light clients, all celebrating not just a wedding but a testament to second chances, to resilience, to the revolutionary act of choosing love and meaning over success and achievement. Lisa's father gave a speech in Yoruba, which Lisa translated for the guests. When my daughter fell, I was afraid. Afraid she'd never rise again. Afraid we'd failed her by pushing her so hard to succeed. But she didn't just rise. She transformed. She became someone more beautiful than the ambitious girl we raised. She became someone who knows her worth regardless of the world's opinion. That is the greatest success any parent could hope for. As night fell, string lights illuminated the garden. Emma fell asleep on a couch inside, exhausted from being the center of attention. Lisa and Michael danced slowly to jazz music, surrounded by everyone who mattered. Happy? Michael asked, his breath warm against her ear. More than I ever thought possible, Lisa said. 3 years ago, I would have laughed if someone told me I'd be here. Married to a man I met while homeless. Mother to a daughter who isn't biologically mine. Running a non-profit instead of a for-profit. Living a life I never planned or expected. Living a life I never planned or expected. Better than what you planned? Michael asked. Infinitely better, Lisa said. I thought success was about climbing higher. But it's actually about digging deeper. Into relationships. Into purpose. Into humanity. You taught me that. We taught each other, Michael said, echoing words that had become their mantra. That's what love does. It makes us both better than we were as individuals. They danced until the last guest left, until the caterers had cleaned up, until only the string lights and the stars illuminated their garden. Then they carried Emma upstairs to bed, tucked her in together, and stood in the doorway watching her sleep. She's ours, Lisa whispered. Really, truly ours. She always was, Michael said. From the moment she made you that name card so you'd know you belonged. She chose you first. I just had the good sense to follow her lead. In their bedroom, the one they now officially shared, Lisa looked at herself in the mirror. The reflection showed a woman who'd been broken and rebuilt. Someone who'd lost everything and gained what mattered. Someone who'd learned that worth doesn't come from achievement but from authenticity, from connection, from choosing to be human in a world that often values production over personhood. The sapphire on her finger caught the light. A symbol not just of Michael's love but of her own transformation. From a woman who measured worth by external validation to someone who knew her value regardless of others' opinions. 6 months after the wedding, Lisa stood in Second Light's office, looking at their growth chart. 500 people helped. New funding secured. Partnerships with organizations across North America. Plans to expand to other countries. But the statistics that mattered most weren't on any chart. The thank you notes pinned to the bulletin board. The photos of people who'd rebuilt their lives. The stories of second chances that became new beginnings. A young woman named Jennifer had just completed Second Light's program. She'd been a surgeon accused of malpractice in a case later revealed to be equipment failure, not human error. She'd lost her license, her home, her sense of identity. Second Light had supported her through the appeals process, provided housing and counseling, and now she was reinstated, saving lives again. You saved me, Jennifer said at her graduation ceremony. Not just by helping me fight my case, but by believing I was still a person worth saving even when I couldn't believe it myself. Lisa hugged her, remembering a rainy night 3 years ago when someone had believed the same about her. We all deserve second chances, Lisa told her. Pass it forward. When you see someone struggling, remember this moment. Remember that you survived. Help them survive too. That evening, Lisa came home to find Michael and Emma in the kitchen, attempting to bake cookies and making a spectacular mess. Flour covered the counters. Emma had dough in her hair. Michael's shirt had mysterious stains. "We're making cookies for your parents' visit tomorrow," Emma announced. "Well, we're trying. It's not going great." Lisa laughed, truly laughed, with the freedom of someone who'd learned that perfection was overrated and mess was evidence of life being lived. "Let me help," she said, rolling up her sleeves. Together, they salvaged the cookies, cleaned the kitchen, and sat down to dinner covered in flour and completely content. This was the life Lisa had never known to want. This chaos, this love, this ordinary, extraordinary existence. After Emma went to bed, Lisa found Michael on their back porch, the one overlooking the garden where they'd married. He'd been doing this lately, sitting outside at night, processing something he hadn't yet shared. "What's on your mind?" Lisa asked, settling beside him. "I was thinking about Sarah," he said quietly. "About how much she'd love you. How proud she'd be of Emma. How right she was when she told me not to be alone forever." "You miss her," Lisa said. It wasn't a question. "I do. Not in the way that takes away from what we have, but in the way that honors what we had. She shaped who I am. Her loss taught me what matters. And somehow, through all that pain, it led me to you. I don't believe in fate exactly, but I believe in purpose. In the idea that our hardest experiences prepare us for our greatest blessings." "I believe that too," Lisa said. "Marcus's betrayal destroyed my old life, but it created space for this one. For you and Emma. For Second Light. For becoming someone I actually like instead of someone I was performing being. I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone, but I also wouldn't trade where it led me." They sat in comfortable silence, two people who'd both been broken and both been healed, not by time or therapy alone, but by connection, by choosing each other daily, by building something real from the rubble of their previous lives. "I love you," Michael said. "More than I thought I could love again. Differently than I loved Sarah, but equally deep. You didn't replace her. You expanded my capacity to love. That's a gift I never expected." "I love you too," Lisa said. "You and Emma. This life. Second Light. All of it. For the first time in my existence, I'm not chasing anything. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just being. Just living. Just loving. And it's enough. I'm enough." That was the revolution, Lisa realized. Not the vindication or the nonprofit or the new family. The revolution was internal. Learning that her worth wasn't determined by achievement or others' opinions. That she could be enough simply by being herself, flaws and all, human and imperfect and trying. 3 years ago, she'd been a CEO who'd lost everything. Today, she was a woman who'd gained what mattered. A partner. A daughter. A purpose. A life built on authenticity rather than ambition. The metrics said she was less successful now than before. No company valuation. No Forbes covers. No boardroom seat. But the truth, the deep truth that sustained her through every day, was that she was richer now than she'd ever been. Rich in love. Rich in purpose. Rich in connection. Rich in the knowledge that when everything else was stripped away, what remained was enough. That was the story Lisa Kingston lived now. Not a story of loss or redemption or even triumph. Just a story of becoming human. Of choosing meaning over metrics. Of building wealth that couldn't be measured in bank accounts or tracked in spreadsheets. The truest wealth, she'd learned, was invisible to everyone except the people who mattered. It was Emma's hugs and Michael's steady presence and her parents' reconciled pride and the clients who rebuilt their lives and the community that formed around shared struggle. It was the life she was living right now. Imperfect and sometimes difficult and absolutely beautiful. "Come to bed," Michael said, standing and offering his hand. Lisa took it, letting him pull her up, letting herself be led inside to the life they'd built together. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new Second Light clients, new opportunities to help people rebuild. But tonight was for rest, for gratitude, for acknowledging how far they'd all come. In Emma's room, they checked on her one last time. She slept peacefully, clutching the stuffed penguin Patricia had given her, surrounded by volcano models and science books and evidence of a childhood filled with curiosity and love. "We did good," Lisa whispered. "We're doing good," Michael corrected. Present tense. Every day. That's how this works. In their bedroom, Lisa looked at the framed photograph on the nightstand. Michael, Lisa, and Emma at their wedding, laughing at something Emma had said, their joy captured forever. Next to it, a second frame held Sarah's picture, her smile blessing this new chapter instead of haunting it. Two families merged through loss and love. Two stories, ending and beginning. Two people who'd been broken, now whole not despite their scars but because they'd learned to honor them. Lisa turned off the light and curled into Michael's embrace, feeling safe and seen and utterly herself. Tomorrow she'd wake up and help more people rebuild their lives. She'd be Mom Lisa and executive director and Michael's wife in all the roles she'd chosen. But tonight she was simply Lisa, a human, a lover, home builder. And that was all that mattered. Thank you for being with us until the end of this incredible story. Don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss the next heartwarming